Thanks for joining us.
The following is a sponsored program paid for by Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results, and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning and welcome to what is expected to be a stormy weekend. I'm Andy Brownell, along with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results at News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning. So are you putting any money on whether we're going to get this big snowstorm or not?
You know, this is the time of the year I would hate to be a forecaster because...
Any time of the year, for real.
Well, but these storms at this time of the year, the difference in temperature can be so movable, let's put it that way.
Unpredictable.
2-degree temperature difference could mean the difference between 20 inches of snow and 6 inches of snow.
Or rain and ice or snow.
Right.
All the things.
And that's all in the mix with this storm.
All I know is yesterday I was sure to go to the grocery store and get stuff to make some of my favorite recipes. So if I'm stranded, I'm going to do some baking and some cooking, and I'll probably just love every minute of it. Because if I'm stranded, that means that if it's a snowstorm, people are saying, oh, let's cancel that open house or let's cancel those showings. And so then I just get all snuggled in and get stuff done. I have this one closet in my house full of photos from back in the day when we actually printed out our photos.
Yeah.
And I have them in little bins that are marked what they are, like birthdays or...
Wow, you're doing better than
family.
me.
Yeah. But I've dug through a lot of them, and then a lot of them didn't get put back where they belong. So I'd really love to get that all put back together. I'm a big fan of the label maker. I love things organized and labeled.
Ours are in one big box all mixed up. And,
that would make me crazy.
It depresses me.
Yeah. No, I like, and even with them organized, then we try to scan them. So we have, but it's just a lot of pictures. Yep. Anyway, I've got plenty of things that could keep me busy if I'm not.
So in other words, it's kind of a day off.
If we get the big blizzard, it will be. Yes. Because if I'm stuck in, I'm stuck in.
My deal, though, is anytime they start predicting, Snowmageddon.
It never happens.
5-6 days beforehand, I get kind of skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Either
way, people be safe out there.
Correct. Stay home.
Even if we don't get the snow, it sounds like we could get the ice, which would be even more treacherous.
That's worse. Yeah, I don't mind driving through snow, but I avoid ice at all cost.
But the good news is, by the time we speak next weekend, it's supposed to be in the 50s.
That's good because it's only 2 weeks from today that we do our Easter egg hunt at the Wabasha office. I'm like, what in the world? Easter's just so early this year. I'm like,
it is.
What do you mean we have to get these eggs all filled? We're just 2 weeks away. Oh, yep, we are 2 weeks away. So we always do it the weekend prior to Easter in case people are, traveling and stuff for Easter weekend. So, that's March 28th this year. Saturday, March 28th is our big Easter egg hunt at our Wabasha office.
And while you're there, you can fill up your tank for a much cheaper price, right?
Yes, you can get gas much cheaper. There you go.
It's Wabasha and a few other communities like that. They always have cheaper gasoline.
I love it. Love it.
Well, speaking of smaller communities,
yes.
Particularly around the Rochester area, I can't help but to notice that they're building quite a few homes.
Yes. I will tell you that, this is kind of pretty self-explanatory. Since 2020, prices in Rochester proper have gone up 45% on average.
Wow.
Yeah. So if people, let's say builders or developers are trying to buy land and build things, you're already in it at such a high price before you even start building. And we all know what happened to building materials and stuff through the whole COVID and all of that. And even though things skyrocketed and did come down a little, they never quite came down to where they were pre-COVID. So there's big expenses. So people will look to the outlying. And when I say outlying, it's kind of fun because if you ask anybody in Rochester, oh, where do you live? They don't typically say, I live at 4627 11th Avenue. They typically say, I live northeast. I live northwest. Sure. I live southeast. I live southwest. We're very much a quadrant city. People talk about which quadrant of the city that they live in. And it's kind of like people know if you live in that quadrant, these are the schools your kids go to. If you live in that quadrant, these are the schools your kids go to, that kind of thing. Where you shop, probably, a lot of those things. But the outlying communities are very much the same. If you're thinking that you like the south side of Rochester for any reason. Now, maybe that reason is that one of the spouses gets on I-90 for work and travels. Well, it's very easy. So then Stewartville becomes a hot community or there's a lot of people that come here to work at Mayo that are originally from Iowa. And oftentimes that's where they want to live because they want that easy access back to Iowa or into Rochester for work. So, like Stewartville or South Racine, a couple different places, Spring Valley, those are the areas that people want to go. If people have grown up over in Eota or St. Charles and they want to be back closer that way, if they want to go to the east, then we'll see those neighborhoods that start at Chester Woods and work the way out, right? And sometimes those people pick that area because they maybe work in Winona or they just want to be close to grandparents. Everybody has their reasons for which one of these communities, but a lot of the reasons, like if people come in from out of state and they're moving here and they don't want to live in Rochester proper, it might be because it's more affordable to go to one of the outlying communities. It might be because they're used to living in a small community. They want their kids in a smaller school. I know some of the smaller communities around us have schools that score really high. Byron and Pine Island both have schools that are in the top 10% in the state of Minnesota, which is, really good. So sometimes people will go for that draw. Byron, of course, has Summerbee. So if you're a big golf lover, that might be a draw. Casson is one of the most affordable places to build new construction. So there's a lot of new construction going on out there. And there's a lot of industry out west, some of the big companies. So it's good for people who work out that direction. So there's a lot of
Claremont and Dodge Center.
Exactly. And then there's, a lot of people choose Orinoco or Pine Island if they're looking to still be close to Rochester, but yet have a few acres, that kind of thing. And a lot of people look at that 52 corridor like, I need to be able to jump on and get to the cities quickly. So they have different reasons for picking them, but the number one reason is you can usually get more house for your money. And the number two reason is people who usually say, I just don't want to live in, I laugh at this, but in the big city because, I don't know that Rochester is a big city, but depending on where you grew up, it can be viewed that way.
Oh, sure. If you're coming from L.A., it's a small town.
Yeah, it's less than that. It's like, where is everything?
And also, when you look at, if you're working at Mayo, which, face it, most people are.
Right.
Your driving distance from all of the communities you just mentioned are shorter than the commutes in the Twin Cities.
Exactly. I just told this to somebody. Somebody said to me, Robin, why do you guys stay at your house in Wabasha so much? Why don't you stay here more? And I say, we stay here sometimes and we stay there sometimes. But the truth is, I live 42 miles if I'm at my house in Wabasha, and it's like a 45-minute ride. So there are places in the cities where you can live 12 and 15 miles from your job, and it's a 45-minute ride.
Easily.
Yeah, so it's very easy commuting here in southeast Minnesota, and we love that, don't we?
We do. And I pointed out before, where I live on the southeast quadrant of the city, downtown is 5-6 minutes away.
Right. Yeah.
Which is insane.
Everything is pretty close. I just sold a townhome up on Superior Lane, like Superior Ridge, up behind the RE/MAX office, up on that.
Yep.
Okay. And in their living room, they have got the most beautiful view of downtown Rochester and such a beautiful view of Assisi Heights. And they've got a deck that runs east to west on the back of their unit. So you can literally sit at that table with a cup of coffee in the morning and watch the sun come up, or you can turn your chair around in the evening and watch the sun go down. And what a plus that is. And these folks that were selling it had photos of both sunrises and sunsets, a lot of photos of hot air balloons and the cityscape. And, it was really nice. So I'm so excited for those folks. But, yeah, there's lots of great neighborhoods, whether they're in Rochester or you start branching out to what I call the bedroom communities.
Right. And
because
I think
basically that's what they're becoming.
Sure. Yeah, that's been happening for, 40 years.
Yeah. And I think, more people used to, like Scott and I 40 years ago lived in Stewartville. And we grocery shopped in Stewartville, and we went to the dentist in Stewartville. And, we did a lot of things. And I think that's becoming less common. I think more people come into Rochester to do all the things.
Sure. And go home to their house.
Home to live, to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have opportunities, that's for sure. Different options.
Of good opportunities. And there's always something for everyone. So it's fun because when somebody tells me what they're looking for in a community, it'll come to me like, oh my gosh, you guys are going to be perfect for living right in Summerby, right in Byron on Summerby. This is going to be a perfect neighborhood for you. Or somebody else I might be like, oh, you are going to love these quiet little neighborhoods in Pine Island or in Stewartville or whatever it is. But it's fun when people can really have a good idea of what it is that's important to them and what they're looking for. And then we, as real estate agents, can help them find that match.
All right, Robin, we do have to take a break. We'll do that and come right back in a moment. Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX results. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96 to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX results, and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back, everyone. Andy Brownell along with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. So I guess, Robin, what's happening out there? What's your read on the market?
Well, I've seen a lot of things nationally that seem kind of, depressing, like, there's a slower start to the year than normal and interest rates are going back up. And it's true that interest rates are creeping back up a little bit each week. This week they were, the average was at 6.11, so back up over 6% after we had dropped down, into the fives for the first time in 3 years. And of course, all of this is because of the unrest and the unknown and, whatever's going on. But I don't think anybody's expecting this to, go into a real full-blown recession. I think it's kind of a temporary bump in the road. And for Rochester, we aren't really noticing much because we're in our peak. Like next week, 1 week is match day, right? The 20th of March. So the residents will be coming in like crazy. The new fellows will be coming in like crazy. Like we'll have a lot of activity. You're going to see a lot of houses. Well, even yesterday, a lot of them went on the market as coming soons to kind of get them out there so that when people do match, they'll have them on their list when they come to town. And then a lot of new ones will come on between March 20th and March 31st because they know that's when our traffic is going to pick up. I've already been involved in a few multiple offers. I helped a guy buy a really cute house over in Northeast Rochester, and I think we ended up paying $11,000 over ask.
Wow, so it is happening out there.
We were one of 4 offers. Yep. So it's definitely, I'm just telling you, I've been busy. It has been really busy and a lot of new up and coming listings, which is also great. And I am expecting to have another fantastic year if these first 2.5 months have been any kind of indication at all. And I'm sure that they have.
So how does that work on match day? Does your phone just start ringing off the hook right as soon as these med students find out they're coming to Rochester?
We've actually already started to get some calls and emails. I was on the phone, was it yesterday, right? Yeah. With a gal that wants to buy a house for cash for her daughter, who her daughter has a very strong inkling that she's going to match at Mayo. It's her first choice, and she feels like she will get it. And I think sometimes they just do have really good interviews, or, whatever. They do feel really strongly about it. But she just said, when we find out if we match, this is what we're looking for. And so I've already set up a portal for her so they can start looking at the options, so that as soon as she matches, then they're going to fly in and buy something, right? So we started getting some emails and calls, but yes, after match day, it gets real busy.
And at the same time, you have those residents who are finishing up at Mayo. They're heading out.
And they know that, they have a few months left here, but they also know that they want to have their house ready for that big influx of buyers. And so it's usually good, because if a resident comes in to buy, an outgoing resident, and they say, hey, we don't want to close until June, they say, great, because we don't want to leave. So, we can put some real win-wins together.
Perfect timing. Yeah. I got a great deal on a car one time because of a resident.
Nice.
Moving to New York City, and he goes, I'm not going to need this car anymore, and I don't want to deal with it, so I'm going to offer it to you at this price. And that was 10 years ago, and my kid still drives it.
Awesome. That is awesome. Nothing like a good deal. We all love that, right? So I think that the best thing is make sure, like if you are listening to this radio show or looking at the podcast and you see that, oh, yes, I think I am going to match to Rochester, or once I do match to Rochester, just make sure you get lined up with a realtor, or you're not going to stand a chance. Like sometimes people think, oh, I'll just fly in and go visit some open houses or something like that. And it just doesn't work that way. It's like if you don't have somebody in your corner helping you, like, navigate and negotiate and find that right place, it's a lot more stressful.
And these residents, they're looking for that house that is going to be in that really competitive price range, because
exactly,
they're not getting paid big bucks at this point.
Right. And most of them, the sweet spot is like $350. Some a little less if they can find them, and some go a little more. Sometimes it's a unique situation. Sometimes the resident is married to a nurse who will come here and work as a nurse, or the resident's married to a physician who's going to move to Rochester and come on staff. So those are different houses that those people are looking for, or two residents married to each other. So there's always different unique situations. But when it's one single resident, they would love to get something $350 or less typically.
Sure.
Because they kind of look at, well, what can we get for the same that we'd be paying in rent, but knowing that at the end of the residency, they've actually got something for that monthly payment that they've paid each month.
It makes this into a very dynamic community, doesn't it?
It sure does.
When we have this just steady migration of people every single year.
And of course, we have a lot of lenders, a lot of local lenders that do the physician's loans, where they can have as little as 0% down and not have to pay any mortgage insurance, which is nice because that's a couple $100 extra bucks on the payment oftentimes. So it's all about rewarding them for all the hard work they put into, the college and then the medical school, and realizing that they're probably not in a cash-rich position, but likely have potential for future earnings. And as long as they've established good credit, then they can get those loans, and they don't take into consideration all that they owe for student loans, which is a big benefit.
I bet a lot of parts of the country, you don't have people in your industry who are really familiar with that, because they don't probably run into it that often, but it's so common to happen here.
Oh, yeah. Here we do just as many physicians. Well, for me personally, probably more physicians loans than non-physician loans for my clients. I mean, a lot of them. And I'm actually, getting old, right? So now I'm doing a lot of cash buyers, a lot of people who are selling their house and going into townhomes, people our age. And so now they're like, well, I'll take the equity out of my house until I sell my house. Or I'm selling a lot of people's second homes. A lot of times those are cash buyers. But obviously I work with every kind of buyer and every kind of financing. I get just as excited about helping a first-time home buyer get through the whole, I just met one this morning, actually. I know his dad for years, so we just got off the phone this morning, and he said his dad recommended me, and his dad's a longtime teacher at John Marshall, and he said, I'm just got pre-approved to buy my first house. I don't know if I'm too small of a fish for you. I'm like, oh, for Pete's sakes, no. That's still what brings me a lot of joy. And I told him, I want to, form a relationship with you so that when you're ready to sell this one in a few years, you're not going to be back to the drawing board. Who do I want to find as a realtor? Your first instinct is going to be, oh, it's time to call Robin, because we've now built that relationship. It's just such a big part of what I have done in the last 26 years.
It is awesome. That's for sure. We have to take a break, Robin. We'll do that.
Okay.
Back in a flash with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results on Newstalk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Saturday morning with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM 96.9 FM. Robin, last week we went through the local market report, and you had all the statistics about, what had been happening over the past few weeks. But oftentimes you come with information that's more, regional than that compares what's happening in the Midwest to other parts of the country. Do you have any data on that?
I do, and I think people are interested because, like we talked about, people are coming and going all the time from Rochester, right?
Yep.
So if they're just finishing up residency here or just finishing up a fellowship here and they've taken a position somewhere else, it's kind of fun for them just to hear what's going on in those parts of the country.
Absolutely.
So
I'm interested in just curiosity.
So let's talk about, I have a regional snapshot from the month of February, okay? So in the Northeast, now not the Northeast quadrant of Rochester, the Northeast part of the U.S., okay? Sales fell 6% last month compared to January, reaching an annual rate of 470,000. Sales were down 4.1 from a year ago. The median price of 479.8 is up 3.3% from 1 year ago. In the Midwest, sales increased 1.1% month over month to an annual rate of 940,000. Sales were down 4.1% from last year. I have felt that we've had a slower start than we did last year, but I feel like we're going to have a really heavy middle of the year. Like we have a lot going on, a lot coming, right? The median price in the Midwest is $302,100, which is up 2.3% from a year ago. So, Northwest was down 4.1, Midwest up 2.3. In the South, sales also increased a little more than in the Midwest. They were up by 1.6% in February compared to January, settling in at an annual rate of 1.89 million sales. Sales are up slightly by 0.5% from a year ago. The median price in the South is $356,800, which is up 0.2% from a year ago.
Okay.
In the West, oh my gosh, things are going crazy in the West. Existing home sales surged 8.2% in February compared to January, reaching an annual rate of 790,000. Sales are down 1.3% from a year ago. So things were really down. And then even with 8.2% up in the month of February, they're still down.
Huh.
The median price in the West is $603,100, which is down 1.9% from a year ago. So those are just some fun facts.
Yeah. Well, out Northeast, if I had to read those numbers, and I think it's an inventory issue there because of all the different regions, the total number of sales was lower
Oh, you are so smart because my good friend Karen is a top producing agent in Boston. Karen Landry. If anybody's moving to Boston, I'll get you her number. That's the other thing. All you people who are moving away, I actually know agents, good agents, wherever it is you're moving. So never, ever hesitate to call me and ask me, who should I be contacting when I get to Seattle? Who should I be contacting when I get to Orlando? Who should I be contacting when I get to Scottsdale? Wherever it is you're going, I literally know the top RE/MAX agents from across the country. But anyway, Karen said just this. She said, I could be really busy, but we have nothing to sell.
Yeah.
So you're right on. She's like, I've got buyers who are chomping at the bit to buy, but we have no inventory.
And down south, they do, apparently.
They do. They do. Yes, they do. So that's why the sales have been happening.
Huh.
So there you go. That's a kind of a look at what's going on across the country.
Okay. Well, Robin, hunker down for the whatever weather event we're about to be hit by.
I can sit and fill Easter eggs if nothing else because we've got, I think, 5,500 eggs for our Easter egg hunt on the 28th of March.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do my taxes.
Oh, that's depressing.
How fun is that?
No, that is not fun.
All right. Well, how do I get?
It's got to be done.
I know, we're all expecting the snow and everything else, but how do I reach you, Robin, if I'm out there and I'm, I want to take advantage of the spring market, or I just have questions about real estate?
Honestly, any questions you have, I love to hear your questions. I love to help you in any way I can. Sometimes people just call me because they want to know, Robin, do you happen to know who the best people to call to remove a tree from our front yard? I mean, I get all kinds of calls and I welcome them. So feel free to call me anytime on my cell phone. That number is 507-259-4926.
Okay, Robin, thanks again.
All right.
And
let's see what happens.
It'll be a nicer day when we talk next Saturday.
I hope so.
No promises, but I'm hopeful, yeah. Okay. Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.